Greetings and welcome to the Cell Guru Show and welcome to the world's biggest smartphone and mobile phone event, the MWC, the Mobile World Congress 2022. Now this is finally a ground event. Big newsmakers out there. Oppo's charging tech, 240 watts, 0 to 100 in under 10 minutes. Samsung launched the Galaxy Book 2. Realme showed off its flagship. QUALCOMM made some real headlines with wireless lossless audio. Big things happening there. Then our first impression of the big one, the big boy, the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. So Note series is dead, but long live the Galaxy Ultra S22. This is top notch. This is super flagship phone, comes with an S Pen, 108 megapixel quad camera. Is it going to be the Android king of 2022? Then we'll move on to the Micromax Note in 2, successor to last year's Note 1. Glossy, shiny design under 15,000 rupees. Comes with the MediaTek HELIO G95 processor, which I think is the best part of the phone. Let's get started with today's show.
Performance, 5G compatibility, fast charging and value. What more do you want from a mid-ranger? Poco's latest smartphone proves that you do not need to spend big money for big performance. Priced at $14,999, the smartphone brings an eye-catching design. Up front is a 90Hz Full HD Plus display to match the performance credentials. Unfortunately, you miss out on the AMOLED panel. The phone is running on a MediaTek Dimensity 810 chipset and has up to 8GB of RAM depending on the variant. Storage tops off at 128GB of UFS 2.2 memory. But it's not all about performance. The phone is 5G compatible on both SIM card slots. You'll even find a 5000 mAh battery that should keep you gaming all day long. Meanwhile, 33-watt charging is excellent for quick top-offs. Rounding off the specs is a 50 megapixel primary camera and an 8 megapixel ultra-wide shooter. In the market for something compact, the Asus ZenFone 8Z is a part of a rare breed of smartphones that don't skip out on specs for the form factor. A bit late to the market, the phone combines a 5.9-inch 120Hz Super AMOLED display with a Snapdragon 888 chipset, ensuring all the performance in the palm of your hand. The camera setup is plenty versatile too, with a 64 megapixel primary camera paired up with a 12 megapixel ultra-wide shooter. Over at the front is a 12 megapixel selfie camera. In fact, Asus hasn't left aside any specs and you get additions like stereo speakers, a headphone jack and even an IP rating. What does suffer, however, is battery life, as the 4000 mAh cell is quite a bit smaller than the competition. Priced at $42,999, Asus ZenFone 8Z isn't the most affordable mid-range option, but if you value size, it is possibly your best bet.
Lots and lots of news coming in. We'll cover that first. The Poco M4 Pro Asus 8Z finally launched. But of course, our top story is the Mobile World Congress. Now, this is the future showcased. Everything you think that's going to happen in your phone, in your smartphone life, this is the showcase. This is the window. So from charging, audio, 5G, key focus areas, so many different announcements from Realme. They introduced flagship phones, the GT2 Pro. TCL showcased a two-way foldable, rollable phone. Can be used in a tent mode, clamshell or even as a tablet. QUALCOMM debuts Snapdragon sound platforms, enables CD quality streaming to true wireless headphones, and gamers, you can get very excited. Lower latency audio comes in. Then Oppo comes up with some serious charging solutions. 240 watts, under 10 minutes, 0 to 100. OnePlus to launch 150 watt capable phones in Q2 of 2022. Samsung showcased a lot. So lots happening. Let's take a look at our report. All the cool stuff from MWC.
Faster, sharper, long-lasting. It's the time of the year when the world assembles in Barcelona to get a glimpse of the future of tech. It's time for the Mobile World Congress, and technology enthusiasts have a lot of innovations to get excited about. This year, the focus appears to be on faster charging solutions, and most brands including Realme, OnePlus, Oppo and Honor demonstrated blazing fast solutions to take your battery from scratch to 100 in minutes. First up, Realme. The value flagship has a new top-of-the-line smartphone coming up. The Realme GT2 Pro is making its way to global markets with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor. 6.7-inch 120Hz OLED screen that includes Gorilla Glass Victus. Rounding off the package is a 5000 mAh battery and 65-watt charging. The real claim to fame, however, is the dual 50-megapixel camera setup as well as the paper-like biopolymer back. With a claimed 150 degrees view from the ultra-wide sensor, you are guaranteed to capture the widest of landscapes. Additionally, the phone has a microscope lens which will let you get up close and personal with your subjects. The phone is expected to make its way to India shortly. Next, we've got yet another foldable prototype from TCL. This year, TCL's foldable shows off versatility by allowing users to fold it both inwards and outwards. Tent mode, regular size smartphone, or perhaps a tablet. TCL's prototype is the closest we've come to explore all the potential form factors of foldable in one single unit. The company has a habit of displaying intriguing technology demos that never quite hit retail, and MWC 2022 is no exception. But we're definitely excited by the possibilities. As true wireless headphones and lossless streaming services become common, Qualcomm is taking the lead on combining the two technologies. The Qualcomm sound platform is official, and it is bringing CD quality lossless audio to your next true wireless headset. Gamers too have something to get excited about with low latency audio that should benefit anyone playing multiplayer games on the go. Are 30 minutes sounding too slow to charge your phone? Oppo might have the solution. Oppo didn't have a new phone in store at MWC, but the company is making up for it with some key technology announcement, especially around charging. The Shenzhen-based company demonstrated a whopping 240-watt charging solution at MWC that can take your phone from 0 to 100 in 9 minutes. OnePlus users too have something to look forward to. Not only did the company announce that OnePlus will be launching a 150-watt charging capable smartphone shortly, but even reaffirmed that Oxygen OS will retain its own distinct identity in global markets. That's a big win for OnePlus users. Following its Galaxy Unpacked launch earlier last month, Samsung showed off its Galaxy Book 2 series of laptops at MWC 2022. Called the Galaxy Book 2 360 and the Galaxy Book 2 Pro 360, the Windows machine is powered by the latest 12th generation Intel chipsets and is promising up to 21 hours of battery life. There's no word on an India launch just yet. Finally, an honorable mention goes to Honor, which might have launched one of the most power-packed spec sheets we'll see in 2022. Powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, the Honor Magic 4 Pro has all the bells and whistles, like a gigantic 6.81-inch 120Hz display. The phone is backing that up with a triple camera setup that even tosses in a 64-megapixel periscope lens alongside 50-megapixel primary and ultra-wide cameras. Finally, you'll find 100-watt charging, both wired and wireless. And that's a wrap on everything of note at MWC 2022.
Let's move on now. This is our first impression of the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Now, this is the most awaited Android phone every year because Samsung with the Galaxy series actually sets the benchmark. But it is a different world right now. So what we're going to do right now is just give you a first impression. So super premium looking phone. This is a great looking phone. The new burgundy color is quite a looker. Very minimalistic design, somewhat reminiscent of the old Note. 6.8-inch display, 120Hz AMOLED screen, S Pen. So Note may have died, but the S Pen lives. Then the latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor, Android 12 out of the box, 5000 mAh battery, great cameras including the nightography part of it, 30x zoom for better focal length. Prices start for this one at about ₹1,10,000. Here is our first impression.
For years now, the Samsung Galaxy S and Note series have been odd siblings, one upping each other in small but not inconsequential ways. The only real differentiator was the presence of the S Pen. It was a long time coming, and in 2022, Samsung has pulled off the inevitable. The Galaxy Note is dead. Long live the Galaxy Note. The Galaxy S22 Ultra is now squarely the future of Samsung's non-foldable top-end lineup. But power-packed phones are a dime and a dozen. Is it a one-trick pony, or is there anything noteworthy about the S22 Ultra to justify the iPhone competing price? Let's find out in Cellguru's first impressions of the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Samsung is going for minimalism with the design of the S22 Ultra. The aluminium and Gorilla Glass VICTUS wrap design screams luxury. It doesn't have the bling of some of the alternatives, but coupled with the burgundy color option, the phone is a looker in its own right. The 6.8-inch display is equally impressive both in terms of size as well as the quality of the panel. You get all the bells and whistles like a 120Hz panel as well as peak brightness levels of 1750 nits, making it one of the brightest displays on the market. And yes, you get an S Pen as well. Slotted along the left side of the body, the pen supports all the features you've come to love, like the ability to scribble notes, translate text, perform gestures, and more. On the performance side of things, the phone is bringing the QUALCOMM Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 to India. Paired up with up to 12 GB of RAM, the spec sheet is as loaded as they come. Moreover, Samsung is shipping the S22 Ultra with Android 12 out of the box. While you'll have to wait for the full review for a complete breakdown of performance, day-to-day usability is perfectly good with slick transitions and no hiccups while jumping between multiple apps. This is exactly what you'd expect from a high-end phone, and the S22 Ultra delivers. Battery life too is good for a full day of use with a 5000 mAh cell. Samsung isn't going all out with the charging tech just yet, so you'll have to make do with a 45-watt charging support. How long does it take to charge fully? Wait for the review. The imaging side doesn't get too many upgrades on the sensor. Instead, Samsung is focusing on software optimization. Between the 108 megapixel primary camera, 10 megapixel 3x telephoto, 10 megapixel 10x telephoto, and 12 megapixel ultra-wide sensor, there is a lot of versatility on offer, and yes, you get even better 30x zoom this time. The front camera meanwhile includes a 40 megapixel sensor for selfies. Of course, you get all the basics like an IP rating, stereo speakers, as well as all the codecs you could want for wireless audio. Additionally, the S22 Ultra includes support for ultra-wideband chips for future-proofing. Price starting 1,09,999 rupees, the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra is the definition of a complete package. It gives you all the hardware bells and whistles and packs it up in a software package that brings out the best. However, is it worth buying? We will answer that question in a full review of the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra.
Let's take a quick break right now, and we come back. Lots more happening on the Cell Guru Show. Let's move on now to our next story, the Micromax Note in 2. So this is a next generation of the Note in. The flashy design, I think, continues. 6.43 inches a display, 90 Hz display, which is good. Android 11, not 12 out of the box. But I think the big deal, the huge deal, is that at this price point, they're giving you the MediaTek HELIO G95. So 48 megapixel quad camera setup, 5000 mAh battery, 30 watt fast charging. It's priced at 12,490. So is it worth your money? Well, our review will tell you.
The OG Indian smartphone brand Micromax is back with its latest mid-ranger. The Micromax In Note 2 is designed to take on tough competition from Xiaomi's Redmi Note series, Poco and Realme. However, being an Indian brand alone isn't enough. Consumers want value and a great experience. Does the Micromax In Note 2 achieve that? Let's find out in the Cell Guru review. It's clear that Micromax is taking inspiration from Samsung for its design. The Gorilla Glass protected glass back is a fingerprint magnet, and using a case is a must. Look closely at the camera module and you'll spot an island that looks like last year's Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. It's a borrowed look but goes a long way towards giving the phone some premium appeal. The general fit and finish are plenty good too for the money. The front of the phone sports a 6.43-inch AMOLED panel with a full HD plus resolution. This is pretty standard across the board in the category and makes media look particularly good. Brightness levels and contrast are on point, if not a bit oversaturated, but it sure makes for a vibrant display. Unfortunately, the panel lacks any high refresh rate support, which is a bit of a downer. The multimedia experience is, however, let down by the lack of stereo speakers. In fact, the single speaker isn't very good either, and you'll be best served by plugging in a pair of earphones or using true wireless headphones. The Micromax In Note 2 is being powered by a MediaTek HELIO G95 processor paired with 4GB of RAM. The phone certainly isn't a gaming beast, but day-to-day usage is acceptable. Some stutters and frame drops are noticeable in normal use. Games like Call of Duty and Battlegrounds are playable, but the phone gets noticeably warm. More importantly, the 4GB of RAM is a limiting factor and you will often come across apps restarting. The Micromax In Note 2 is running a near-stock build of Android 11. There is no bloatware either, a definite win for the company. Switching over to battery life, the 500 mAh cell gives supreme longevity. You can comfortably make the phone go a day and a half on a single charge. Charging speeds are decent too at 30 watt with a full charge taking about an hour. On the camera end, you will observe a trio of sensors. The primary camera is a 48 megapixel unit paired with a 5 megapixel ultra-wide shooter, 2 megapixel portrait camera and a 2 megapixel macro camera. Over at the front is a 16 megapixel sensor. The primary camera takes decent shots as long as the light is good. There is a noticeable skew towards warmer tones and slight oversaturation. Unfortunately, picture quality tanks when you try shooting in dim or low light. Night mode doesn't help much either. Meanwhile, the ultra-wide camera has too low a resolution to be particularly useful. There's very noticeable edge distortion too. Finally, the macro camera is capable of some good quality close-ups, but the resolution suffers again. The Micromax In Note 2 doesn't quite set the mid-range world on fire, but comes across as a well-balanced package that prioritizes design and battery life over all-out performance. That doesn't make it a bad phone, but places it a step behind some of the alternatives. Priced at 12,490 rupees, the phone is a decent option to consider if you want a premium looking phone for not much money.
That then was the Cell Guru show for this week, but we've got some epic stuff lined up for next week. All the stuff that we couldn't cover from the Mobile World Congress, then the Poco M4 Pro, the Realme Narzo 50, and a whole lot more, including, of course, I know you all are going to ask for it. We'll give it to you. The Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. We'll review it. We'll also compare it to the rest of the competition. I'll see you next week.